Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about the Polar 65 Plus from Arbiter Studios. This is their newest release and let's get into the review. So first off, this is the box we have here. It's pretty similar to their older boxes, nothing crazy, but it's a nice box. Then we have in the box a braided black Type-C cable. We have a keycap and switch puller, and then we get some extra Jade Pro and TTC comm switches, 5 of each. And that's pretty much it for what's in the box. In terms of the keyboard itself, this does have an aluminum frame, and then it has a plastic case bottom with a little metal badge on there. This is the same exact case they used on the Polar 65 Pro, and the same they've used on older models for a little while. In terms of the keycaps, we do have right here double shot PBT keycaps. This is something they did update from their older keyboards, and I'm glad they're finally using these keycaps. This is a nice improvement, and these are pretty solid keycaps. So the stabs on this board are clip-ins on all the stabilizers, except the spacebar is a screw-in, and the screw-in does not sound very good. It doesn't sound as good as these. These stabs aren't tuned the best. I'd say they're good enough, but they really should be better. Let's get on to the stock switches. So these are the Fuji Plus switches right here. These have a 30-gram initial force, so they're meant to be really light, but they don't really feel that light, and the bottoming out doesn't feel that good. These are probably one of the worst feeling HE switches I've tried in a while. I wouldn't say they're terrible. I think some people that haven't tried a lot of HE switches will be fine with them, but my main problem with these is that they are open bottom, and the lube will come out after a while and they won't sound as good. These switches are pretty quiet, so if you want a silent but not super silent keyboard, then you will like these switches. That I could give them that. Like the initial stock sound does sound okay, nothing special, nothing bad, but over time it won't sound as good. And for people that are keyboard enthusiasts that want a Hall effect board, this is not going to satisfy them. The typing experience is fine. It is a screw-in plate. It's nothing special, but it's okay. But this board does now support KS20 switches, so it does support switches like Jade Pros, like TTC switches, and I do currently have Rubies in here. I will leave a sound test at the end of the video with a few different switches and a sound test in here. So in terms of the overall sound profile of this board, when you're using different switches, it hasn't really changed, and this is my problem with this keyboard. I was hoping they would update this case to a better case, but it's the same case they've been using for years, and this case just does not have the best sound profile. I feel like a year ago it was okay, but the fact that they have not updated it is not the best. They really need to do a case redesign, because yes, this will sound decent with Jade Pros, or Jade Rubies, but when you're spending $80 on a Switch, you want a better experience, and this really isn't worth it to swap switches just because the overall sound profile is not very good. In terms of RGB, it does support it. I don't really use RGB. I think this RGB is fine. Again, I don't really care for RGB, so I'm not going to tell you this is the best or worst ever RGB. In terms of software, this does have a nice WebDriver. It does support Rapid Trigger and SOCD, and the WebDriver was pretty good for my use. I had a little trouble. I was trying to set a macro and I couldn't do it. Usually in other softwares, I had no problem, but I think it was a skill issue on my part. So I'm not going to say you can't do macros. Most people that use macros will probably figure it out fine. In terms of performance, Arbiter claims this is 2 times better than the Polar 65 Pro I have right here. I don't notice a difference, but I also don't notice a difference with any of the better performance Rapid Trigger boards. So this, I can't really speak if this is a super fast keyboard, but in terms of performance, this doesn't feel very different than many of my other Rapid Trigger boards, so I just don't have the performance numbers, but the performance to me feels fine. In terms of pricing, this does come in at $125 to $130. $125 if you get shine through keycaps, $130 if you get regular keycaps, which I don't like that they do that. I don't know why having Legends should cost $5 more. The actual keycaps themselves in the factory probably cost a couple cents more. So I don't love that they're doing that. In terms of if you use code sicko, you could get 10% off. So after shipping, this can still come in at $120. So overall, at $120-ish, I wouldn't not recommend this. I do think for someone who doesn't know much about keyboards and just wants an okay pre-built board that might have decent performance and decent web driver, this is fine, but I feel like there's so much better on the market that you like. The reason why they made this keyboard was to add hot swap, but then they chose to put a mid switch in there, which there are boards that for the price that it would cost to buy new switches already have, let's say, Jade Pros, and it'll still sound better. So if you're looking for a really good sound experience, you want to use Jade Pros, Jade Rubies, I can't recommend this board. I really can only recommend this board to someone who just wants a pre-built, they'd like Arbiter and just wants to buy it. There are better pre-builts on the market. I know Newfie already has a board with Jade Pros for like $100. It just doesn't have an aluminum frame. So again, you're essentially paying for a keyboard that has a plasticky sound profile, but you do get an aluminum frame. That's pretty much what this is. And in terms of these switches, again, I do think even the switches on the Polar 65 Pro initially in stock sounded better. They do lose loop over time as well. So I just don't understand the point of this switch here. That's pretty much it. I do think Arbiter could have done a little better. I really think they need to redesign their case just to get a better sound profile, but I wouldn't say this is a horrible board. It just really could be better. And thank you for watching. I'll leave off with a nice sound test.